If you are a man who has reached a certain stage in life and you notice that the spark of your vitality seems to be fading, that your erections no longer have the firmness they once did, or that your sexual desire has gradually disappeared, what you are about to hear could become the most revealing and transformative message of your life. This is not about another blue pill. It is not that supposed magic solution that promises immediate results at the cost of an endless list of side effects. This goes much deeper. It is simpler, more natural, and undoubtedly more profound. We are talking about a vitamin that most men not only overlook, but often completely ignore, and that has a direct and proven influence on the very essence of your performance. And it is not limited to the bedroom. It concerns your confidence, your vital energy, and the way you present yourself to others. Over decades, I have seen countless men come looking for answers, convinced that the only solution is a pill that barely masks the problem for a few hours without addressing the true root. But there is a reality that big pharmaceutical companies do not want you to discover. That reality is that the decline in your performance does not always begin with testosterone, but with a silent deficiency of an essential vitamin needed for the proper function of your vascular system and hormonal balance. And this is where everything becomes fascinating, because this vitamin, so simple and accessible, has the power to restore not only proper blood flow, but also mental clarity and emotional stability. What you are about to learn is not a passing internet trend, but a solution backed by science and confirmed by countless real success stories. Stay with me, because I will show you exactly what this vitamin is, how it works, and why, for most men, it is the missing link in the chain of their vitality. Let's start with the truth. What most men experience as they age is not just an inevitable effect of getting older. It is a systemic problem that affects three fundamental areas of health, all closely linked to the deficiency of that crucial vitamin. The first is the health of the blood vessels. To achieve and maintain a firm erection, strong blood flow to the erectile tissue of the penis is essential. Over time, however, blood vessels lose elasticity and become stiffer. The second area is hormonal regulation. Desire and libido directly depend on adequate levels of testosterone. And the third is inflammation, that chronic, silent inflammation that gradually damages blood vessels and nerves, the very ones that transmit the signal needed to achieve an erection. Many men think testosterone is everything, but the truth runs much deeper. The truth is that if these three key systems are not functioning optimally, no amount of miraculous hormones will give you the results you desire. The only thing you will feel is frustration and disappointment. But there is a solution, and it is so simple that most people do not even consider it. Over the years, I have confirmed that in most cases, these three systems collapse because the body lacks just one vitamin. And when it is replenished, everything begins to function again. So, what vitamin are we talking about? And why is it so decisive for the health of your erections? Let me clarify. It is the nutrient of sunlight, the silent guardian of your intimate vitality. If I told you that the key is not in a pharmacy, but in the sun's rays, you might take it as a joke. But science confirms it decisively. Vitamin D, known as the sunshine vitamin, is much more than just a support for bones. It is a systemic regulator that plays an essential role in the health of your blood vessels, hormonal balance, and inflammation control. Look, vitamin D acts as a precursor for nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes vascular walls and allows blood to flow freely, not only to the heart and brain, but also to the penis. When the body lacks enough vitamin D, nitric oxide production is affected, which means poor blood flow and much weaker erections. And it doesn't stop there. Serious research has shown that there is a direct relationship between low vitamin D levels and reduced testosterone levels. We are not only talking about sexual desire, but about all male vital energy. And as if that were not enough, vitamin D is also a powerful anti-inflammatory that protects blood vessels and nerves from slow and silent damage. I remember a patient, Robert, a retired bus driver of 62 years. He arrived feeling defeated, with tired eyes. "I've tried everything," he confessed. "Pills, supplements, nothing helps. I feel like I'm failing my partner." After reviewing his blood tests, we discovered that his vitamin D levels were alarmingly low. Instead of prescribing another pill, I recommended two things: more sunlight, and a vitamin D supplement. At first, he laughed skeptically. "That's it?" he asked. I replied, "That is just the beginning. Give your body the foundation it needs to truly heal." 3 months later, he returned transformed. Not only had his erections improved, but he radiated energy and felt full of life. "I feel 10 years younger," he said excitedly. And his wife, of course, had noticed it too. That is the power of addressing the root of the problem and not settling for just masking the symptoms. Now let me show you the science that supports this, because the evidence is so solid that it cannot be ignored. The scientific evidence supporting vitamin D is overwhelming. I know it is easy to feel skeptical. There are so many trends in the health world, so many products that promise wonders and deliver nothing. But what I share with you about vitamin D is not a passing trend. This is real science, medicine based on solid evidence. There are strong studies directly linking vitamin D deficiency to erectile dysfunction. For example, research published in the journal Atherosclerosis revealed that men with erectile problems had much lower vitamin D levels than those with normal function. Another study, this time published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, showed that supplementing with vitamin D improved erectile function in men who were deficient in this vitamin. And these are not isolated studies. They are part of a growing body of research emphasizing the vital importance of this nutrient. But science goes beyond simply pointing out that men with low vitamin D levels are at higher risk of dysfunction. Researchers have uncovered the mechanism behind it. Vitamin D receptors are distributed throughout the cardiovascular system, including the arteries in the penis. When those receptors receive enough vitamin D, the production of nitric oxide is activated, the molecule that dilates blood vessels and makes a firm erection possible. It is a direct circuit, a system that responds as soon as it receives the right fuel. Moreover, vitamin D does not just flip that switch, it also reduces markers of inflammation in the body, protecting the delicate nerves and blood vessels that make the erectile response possible. It is as if vitamin D works by cleaning and repairing the system from within, an effect that no pill can fully replicate. And this is where the story takes a deeply human turn. Because science is convincing, but what really touches life are the testimonies of real men who have gone through this journey. Let me tell you about one. At 59 years old, Michael, a strong man who had spent his life working as a carpenter, felt that his own body had abandoned him. It was not just the intimate aspect, which was almost non-existent, but also his energy and mood. He confessed that he often stayed seated in his car after returning from work, without the strength to go inside, because he feared seeing the sadness in his wife's eyes. There were no reproaches, only a painful silence that filled the home. He had tried the famous blue pill, which barely worked and made him feel that everything was a scam, not a true recovery of his masculinity. After performing a complete blood analysis, the answer was clear. His vitamin D levels were dangerously low. I showed him the connection, explained the science, and proposed a simple but powerful plan. "I want you to go outside every day and walk under the sun for at least 20 minutes, I told him. And I want you to take a vitamin D supplement, 3 capsules of 2000 IU each morning with your breakfast." He looked at me incredulously, but his desperation was stronger than his doubt. He followed it to the letter. He did not miss a single day. After a month, he sent me a message full of emotion. "It's not just that I feel physically better," he wrote. "It's that I am starting to feel like myself again. I am joking around. My wife and I laughed together like before." 2 months later, he called me to tell me something that moved him deeply. He had woken up with a morning erection, something he had not experienced in years. "It was like opening my eyes after the longest dream," he said. For me, that is the true triumph. Because it is not only about function, but about regaining confidence, intimacy, and the joy of feeling like a man in his full essence. But to achieve it, half measures are not enough. It has to be done the right way. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about now: how to obtain and use vitamin D properly. You would be surprised by the number of men who tell me, "I have been taking vitamin D for years and I notice no change." And when I ask how they take it, I find that almost always they are doing it the wrong way. It is not just about swallowing a capsule. It is about understanding how your body processes and uses that vitamin. The first and best source is the sun. 15 to 20 minutes of daily exposure, with arms and face uncovered, can make a difference in your levels. But let's be honest, not everyone lives in sunny places all year, nor has the time to do this every day. That is why supplementation becomes a key part. The most potent and active form is vitamin D3. In men with deficiency, a range of 2,000 to 5,000 IU daily is usually a good starting point. And here is the detail that almost everyone overlooks. Vitamin D is fat-soluble, which means it needs fat to be absorbed. Never take it alone with just a glass of water. Take it with your largest meal of the day, preferably with foods rich in healthy fats like avocado, eggs, or a handful of nuts. And do not expect immediate changes. Vitamin D works slowly but steadily, repairing damage, reducing inflammation, and restoring balance to your body. I always recommend maintaining this habit for at least 3 months before evaluating the results. And even then, most men begin to notice changes much sooner. But remember, vitamin D is only the foundation, not the entire structure. If you combine it with something as simple as a daily 20-minute walk, you will further activate circulation and boost nitric oxide production. That is exactly what Michael did, and thanks to that his body healed in a way that no pill could have ever achieved. And now it is time to talk about what you too can begin to feel, not just in your intimacy, but in every aspect of your life. What awaits you is a transformation in just 30 days. When a man begins to correct his vitamin D deficiency and adopts a simple daily habit, something extraordinary happens. It is not a magic pill that gives a fleeting erection. It is a profound awakening that restores control and confidence. After 30 days, many notice a subtle but transformative change. That mental fog that made days feel heavy begins to lift. They regain focus, the energy to engage in what they enjoy, or simply to spend more quality time with their family. Mood visibly improves. That silent irritability that often accompanies the loss of male vitality begins to fade. And soon, physical changes also arrive. Those morning erections, which seemed like a distant memory, start to return. At first, they may not be perfect, but they're a clear sign. Proof that the body is repairing itself from the inside. And the most valuable part, sexual desire returns. Not as an obligation, but as a natural impulse. A genuine longing that connects you with your partner in a much deeper way than mere physical response. It is the feeling of being a man again, of desiring and being desired. Vitamin D does not create an erection by itself, but it gives the body the tools to produce it naturally. It reconnects the systems that time has worn down. And you don't have to just take my word for it. You only need to listen to the signals from your own body to notice the difference that a simple change can make. This approach is different from anything you might have tried before. Many men have already tried everything, pills, pumps, or exotic supplements, and they all share the same frustration. Most of these solutions only address the surface, not the root of the problem. A common blue pill, for example, can temporarily increase blood flow, but if your blood vessels are already stiff from inflammation, if your brain is not sending the right signals, or if your testosterone is low, the effect will be short-lived and disappointing. Vitamin D acts like a foundation. It allows the body to produce nitric oxide naturally, balance hormones, and reduce inflammation. The difference is enormous. It is not about forcing a broken machine to work, but about repairing it so that it can function on its own. My philosophy has always been simple. Give the body what it needs to heal, and it will do the rest. That is why the first step with any man experiencing performance issues is to measure his vitamin D levels. Without that foundation, no intervention will work in the long term. That is why this is not a quick fix, but a real solution. This is a commitment to your health that shows itself not only in the bedroom, but in every aspect of your life. And it is never too late to start. If there is one idea I want you to remember after reading this, it is this: your body is an extraordinary system, and most problems do not mean that you are broken, but that your body is missing an essential ingredient. In my experience over decades, I have seen again and again how vitamin D deficiency becomes the missing link for male vitality. We have talked about the science behind it, how it supports blood flow, stimulates testosterone production, and reduces inflammation. Real stories like those of Mark and Daniel show that when men restore this simple nutrient, they not only regain their erections, but also their confidence and zest for life. Using vitamin D correctly is simple. Spend time in the sun and pair it with meals rich in healthy fats. After 30 days, you will notice changes not only in your intimacy, but also in your energy, mental clarity, and mood. This is not a temporary patch, but a solid foundation for lasting health. It is never too late to start. You do not need to completely transform your life. One simple and consistent step, such as spending 20 minutes in the sun or taking a vitamin D supplement with breakfast, can make a difference. Send your body the signal that you care and that you want it to function again, and watch how it responds. This is much more than a vitamin. It is a reminder that your health is in your hands and that a simple choice can change everything. If this message has given you hope or something valuable, share it with other men who might need it. What is at stake is not only your performance, but also your confidence, your joy, and your connection to life.